Happy first day of PLANMAS, everyone. So I'm going to actually share with you today how I resize my photos to those 2x2 squares when I make my inspiration pages. So if you are interested in seeing exactly how I resize and cut those up, then just keep watching. So first, I'm going to use my Pinterest page. So this is usually where I get the majority of my photos for my inspiration pages. So I'm just going to go to a board here in my winter decor board, and let's just say I want to use this red snowflake, which this was a project that I did a couple years ago. So I am going to, on my Mac, hit Command-Shift-4, and my mouse will change into this plus sign selector tool that will allow me to adjust exactly what I want to select. So now, because I'm doing a 2" by 2" and that's a perfect square, I don't want to make a selection that's like a rectangle in either direction. I want to get it as close to a square as possible. So that looks good to me. So I'm gonna let go, and that will screenshot that little square. And if you're on a Windows computer, there is a tool called Snip, which actually does pretty close to the same exact thing. So now I'm in Pages, which is the Mac version of Microsoft Word. I'm just gonna drag this screenshot into the document here, and as you can see, it automatically shows up huge in my page. So now that I have that in here, I'm actually going to resize this to the 2" by 2" square. So under the format, and I always lose track of where it is, it's under arrange. So it's this size portion here. So you can see right now it's 6 inches. I'm gonna uncheck this box, because if it's checked, it will kind of, based on the size of the image, auto pick your other like height or width, whichever one you do, but I want it exactly 2 by 2, so I'm going to uncheck the box and then type 2 in each. So now I have my photo in a 2 by 2 square. So just for the sake of ease, I'm just going to copy and paste this, but use your imagination. These are different winter Christmas pictures here. So I just basically arrange these 2" photos on my page, and I can fit all 12 on one page, and then I would just go ahead and print. And I don't do anything special for printing. I just print on a regular printer, on regular printer paper. You can use fancier cardstock or whatever. I've done both, and honestly, they both kind of turn out the same. So I just use regular printer paper. And then you can go ahead and adjust any of these printer details depending on your printer. I just basically use all of the default settings here. And then if I was printing this, I would just click print. So that is how I resize all of these photos here. So next up, we are gonna move to once it's printed and it's time to cut the photos out. So I cut my photos out with this ruler, this mat, and then I have one of those rotary cutters. So I have 2 sheets of photos right now. I have my 2" by 2" squares, and then I have a larger one that I actually printed 6 inches by 8 because I want it to fill the entire back of the photo sheet, which this will probably make more sense tomorrow when we actually build our page. So now I'm just gonna basically cut all of these squares out. I'm gonna line it up on this mat and use my ruler as a guide and just cut all of these out. And if you have these tools at home, this makes it really quick and easy, but I have also just cut these out with regular scissors. So now, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna go ahead and speed up cutting out all of these squares. And I basically cut these out into strips at first just because it makes it easier. So you can keep going, and then you have your little 2" by 2" squares at the end with these cutters. But like I said, if you don't actually have any of these tools, you can just use regular scissors. So I'm actually going to finish this up with scissors. So for me, using scissors is always a little scary because it's like, am I gonna cut in a straight line? So there we go. You see I still have my 2" by 2" square, and then I always try to give myself an easier cutting space, if that makes sense. So I'll flip around the photos just so that it's easier to cut them with the scissors. And then once again, I'm just going to speed up the process of cutting all of these photos out. So now that I have those cut out, I'm going to cut up the larger photo that I have, and this is going to be on the back. But it is still going to be 2 by 2 inch squares. So I'm basically just going to cut this down. I'm going to cut the whole picture out, and then I'm going to cut it down in 2 inch increments. So then each square will ultimately be 2 inch by 2 inch, because this photo is actually, I printed it at 6 inches by 8 inches. Because the page protector sheet that I'm going to pop these into is actually 3 photos by 4 photos, and each of those photos are 2 inches by 2 inches. So that's how I got the 6 by 8. So I'm going to finish cutting out this here. I will also have linked in the description box below a link to my blog where I kind of wrote up these instructions a little bit if reading is more your style, or feel free to drop a comment down below with any questions you have on printing or resizing, and I will do my best to help you out. So now it's time to make these 2 inches by 2 inches. So I'm just going to line this up in a way where I can just cut and move the ruler every 2 inches. And now I'm going to do 2 inches the other way, and just like that I have my 2 by 2 squares. And I will also have linked down below my Pinterest with the Pinterest board where I got all of these photos. So that is how I resize and cut up photos for my inspiration seasonal vision boards. So hit that like button if you are excited to see the PLANMAS series return, and hit the subscribe button because I am posting new videos every day through December 25th, and I will talk to you guys all in my next one. Bye guys!